what we were going to talk about, it's good that we started off with what drink is 2020, because what we're talking about today is the year thus far from a dealer's perspective. We're on the dealer side of things. I think we're in a good situation where we understand the contractor side, which is a lot of our listeners as well, because we were contractors.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be more like how this year's gone from a dealer's perspective, with the hopes that we can help shed some light to some of the contractors on what's happening and why. Like, they're just rolling up to lumberyards with nothing on the ground. And I don't know.
And maybe also for the homeowners that, like, there's the odd person that listens to this, right? But
yeah, some people need to hear this because they're getting frustrated with like places like ours or whatever, and it's like it's completely out of our control. But we're just going to kind of share a little bit about how the year's gone from start to finish this year. It's been a wild ride. There was reasons to drink at the start, reasons to drink at the end. They were the opposite. Opposite reasons. Same drink. Same
drink.
Same
the
drink.
Rustiest of nails.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was having a tetanus shot in March.
Yeah. So you want to open this up? So this year is a bit of a different one for us too, because we had a whole bunch of plans we were doing over the winter before we knew that this whole thing was going to happen. But anyways, over the winter we had made the decision, not over the winter, but over the winter we were
we made the decision
acting on the decision
last summer, right?
To open our second location and to move our first location to a new building.
That's the stupidest thing we've done.
And to start a new website and to change our POS system and to hire new managers.
That was the best thing we did.
And to, we had a whole lot of things on our plate.
We're in year 4, and it was like, let's completely rebuild the company.
Edmonton Empire, says Carly. I think that one that's one that's been thrown around. Has a legit shot. Because they already kind of referred to themselves as the Empire. Like, But I've talked about that one too, and saying that that's an awfully colonial sounding name too, and somebody will have an issue with that name too. But anyway.
So we bit off more than we could chew, I think. And I think the fact that
still talking about chicken wings,
neither of our stores are finished, I think is a perfect example of that. So
yeah.
But I think we did some things right. I think it was the right time to go to Saskatoon. I think bringing those people on board with us was a great decision. We needed to add to the team. That's for sure.
We had scaled ourselves to beyond just Wade and Shane running this with a few summer students. Yep. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so then so we crushed all winter. People were like, "What are you doing in the winter?" Geez, dude, it's busier in the winter than it is in the summer.
Really
just like no customers, but
yep.
we're slammed trying to get this little stuff all figured out. And yeah, it's stressful because deadlines and everything else. But so anyways, we get this thing rolling. We're planning to open March 31st for both stores and trying to get the website up at that time too. Developing the website in-house, like just me and my computer. So it's like trying to open essentially 3 stores by March 31st with you and me and our yard guy from last year, because the other guy that was with us up until Christmas, we fired him. And then
he saw an elevator, was like, I'm going to step off.
I've heard the elevator is how you get up and climb the corporate ladder.
Or so down. But either way, I'm doing it safely. See ya.
He left. So there was the 3 of us trying to do all this and like move a lumberyard and all this stuff. So anyways, March comes around. Home shows are getting closer because they happen in March.
Mm-hmm.
There was one in Regina about the 3rd week March. There was one in Saskatoon the 3rd week March, and one in Saskatoon the 4th week March. And we were in for all 3. And the plan was like, let's have the stores ready for these home shows and then do the home shows, and that's the coming out party. In Regina, we've been in that home show for 4 years prior.
Yeah, no coming out party there. It was that's part of you just do that.
We were heading in there to our same spot, same displays, everything. Saskatoon, however, was brand new. We had never done these shows before. We hadn't had a store in that city before. And there was 2 of them. So that was the plan. That was the coming out party we were planning to do in Saskatoon. That was like how we were going to announce we were here. That was how we were going to get a bunch of leads and customers coming our way. It was like, we're going to talk to 15,000 people this week and then 15 more thousand people the next week. And then out of that, we'll have some traffic. Over.
Closed the shows.
So
we've talked about this.
Plans to shit.
There's 2 ways to look at that. And at that time, we were still like trying to find the positives in it.
We were stressing about having to do the shows.
We likely weren't going to be able to get the booth and the showroom done in Saskatoon.
Right. But we had built the display here, most of it.
Oh yeah, because we were doing that
Saskatoon, we
smaller one.
built
We were
it
doing a
here.
10 by 20, right?
So it was like,
So the booth
not
in
ready to get close.
Saskatoon was going to be like, it was going to be ho hum, and the store wasn't going to be great either because we were going to be taken away from the store to be at the home shows. For
not
8
great as in not ready, you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't going to be
Store's
finished.
great.
So it wasn't going to be like we were going to be gone for 8 days at the home shows, and that
Oh yeah,
those
longer
are
than that.
valuable
Yeah.
8 days
Or
in
like
the
the
store.
move in and the show and then the move out and then the move. That was the stupid thing. And then the move back in and then the show and then move
Anyways.
out again. Probably a 2-week commitment to get that all done.
So that would have been devastating to the store production in Saskatoon.
Well, we would have lost those 2 weeks, which
So then the idea that the stores were, that COVID was like happening, trending in the right direction, we were worried we were actually going to pay all of the money to be at these home shows and then the show would be half attended.
right. There was that fear for sure.
So
It
it's
was
like, okay, we're going to invest all of the time, all of the money, and we're going to get no return on this.
Yeah.
Because
I forgot
nobody will
about
show
that.
up.
I
Nobody
forgot
will
about
show
that
up. It'll
fear
be
we
like,
had.
oh boy, what? Now it's to the point, it's like, let's cancel the show. Like, I want the show actually to be canceled now rather than half attended because
Yeah.
that's the worst. That's the most work and the least payoff.
Yeah.
So cancel the show, give us our money back. We'll run some advertising. Try that.
Yeah.
So that happened, which was a blessing in disguise because we were mad that the home shows didn't happen, but it gave us an opportunity to get into the store and continue getting that space outfitted.
Well, it was honestly a big relief when they did get canceled because it was like, oh, we've got so much shit to do here. Like,
Yeah.
in a way, thankfully, we don't have to worry about this 2-week block now of
Yep.
how we're going to do these shows, these 3 shows in 1 week.
So epic stress trying to get ready for it. Shows get canceled.
Bit of a
Some-
relief. And
Some
then
relief.
let's go. Let's just buckle down here in these.
Then
these,
it was.
stores.
Then I started to panic. It was like, wait a second. If they close the show, and people are being laid off and told not to come to work, what are we going to do with all of our inventory? Nobody has any money. How are we going to sell this? So then I went into like a pretty dark spot for a few days and was like, Shane, like, this is bad news, Bears, man. We're in trouble. Like, we have a lot of product. And you were like, no, I think we'll be okay. Like, so then you spent a couple of days being the cheerleader, bringing me back up from the well.
Yeah.
And that worked. I was then positive and was like, yep, here we go. And then you found the internet.
Quit being so happy.
And then you spent 2 or 3 days in a pretty bad
No,
spot
what
too.
what triggered me as a millennial was we had a big order that was lined up to another lumberyard.
Yeah.
And it was a full truck of decking that we were going to sell to this other lumberyard. And that was going to happen in March.
Mm-hmm.
And just before it was about to happen, the town got shut down. Calgary got shut down. Like they went to lockdown. And that lumberyard called us and were like, we have to cancel that order. We can't take that on right now. Like the city just got shut down. This year's gone. It's a write-off. We can't take on this inventory. We have to cancel the order. And it wasn't until like I'm a fairly optimistic, positive person a lot of the time. I don't let too much get me down. I'll have a bad day here and there, but I generally don't see a struggle that we can't get past because for 4 years, we've been just solving problems and like somehow we've built
That's
this
all it
thing
ever
from
is.
nothing. And so we've always managed to find a way. But that phone call from him made me go like, oh shit,
That was a lot of money.
do I need to be making these phone calls?
Yeah, because this guy's been in the game a lot longer than us.
He's a big operation. He's canceled his inventory. Is he canceling all? Should we be canceling our inventory? And so then it went straight from like, working away in stores, it's going to be a great year. Wonder what this whole thing's going to mean. But yeah, good to go. And then like canceling that $100,000 order. Whoa. Like immediate panic on the phone, on the email machine. Hey, don't send these trucks. Don't send these trucks. Let us think this through this week. We need some time to figure out what this all means before we take on all this inventory. You got $1.5 million of inventory booked to come, and people are getting laid off of work. They're locked in their houses. They're whatever. And like, people are saying this is like months, years. Like nobody knows how long it's going to last. Like we can't do this. And then everybody,
Fear.
because they're also scared of losing the sale, are all like, no, don't do that. Just like, see it through. It's going to be okay. It's going to rebound. It's going to be a great year, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you don't know that. You're just trying to get me to not cancel $200,000 of inventory from you. Like, you have no idea. And then, so we were kind of pushing back. We were like, well, listen, I don't want to be in the situation where we book this inventory, bring this inventory in, season doesn't happen, you come collecting, looking for money in June, and I've got none. You see where I'm coming from? I don't want that situation.
Don't send the bill collector, send a truck to haul the product back.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we were pretty transparent with our suppliers. We're just like, sure, you can send the product, but like if we can't pay for it,
there needs to be a plan. Like if you don't want us to
chat about it,
if you don't want us to cancel this inventory, you have to have our backs. If this season doesn't happen, you have to be willing to take it back. You have to be willing to like extend the terms or something. Like you got to help us out here. I obviously can't take on $1.5 million of inventory on account and then have no revenue to pay for it.
Open 2 locations,
Like,
get a new forklift.
Then it's over.
It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
So
most of them
all
were
of our,
open.
I would say all of our vendors were really good, right? They supported us. Was there anybody that you felt like didn't? You don't have to name them, but like, can you think of one?
No, like everybody was very non-committal to say what the support would be, but they were like, we'll figure it out, right? And I was like,
yeah,
okay. Are
That's
you
what
going to
we
remember
need.
this conversation though in 3 months from now? Like, can we
I
get
felt
this in
like they
writing?
were-
No,
yeah.
you can't get in writing.
I felt like they were all going to be okay. And so anyways, so that alleviated some pressure, right? So it was stress. Like now we're not going to sell anything.
It did a bit, yeah. And then
was like-
to your point, I got myself into then because of that Monday, that happened on a Monday because
Yep.
I think Calgary got shut down on
6
Saturday. Monday, the
a.m.
phone call came in like, cancel the trucks. We sent out our emails probably Monday, same day or day after or
Yep.
whatever. And then I spent Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday waking up every morning in the news, trying to find out, like looking at the COVID count, seeing like, where's this thing headed? And just like starting my day out, freaked out
Mm-hmm.
every day.
a
Showing up
bad
to
week.
work and be like, fuck, we're screwed.
It's over.
How is this
Close the
gonna
doors.
how's it gonna happen? We're opening a second store. We're moving this store. We brought on extra overhead and staffing in February, which we normally wouldn't bring them on that early, but we needed help to get stores ready, so we brought them on early, hoping for an early spring to kind of help pay those bills. We're basically paying people on like out of our credit lines, essentially floating employees until the revenue comes in, and now the revenue's not going to come in. So I spent a pretty shitty 3 days in my own head because of the media, and then realized this ain't going to get us anywhere.
I came in with the pom-poms.
Gloating,
Dude, we just like,
moaning about it.
this is-
And so
we have 2 options. We
Mhm.
either be super shitty and for sure fail, or like, let's see if we can't sell some decking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe only half fail,
What are the odds you were going to sell nothing?
right? We're gonna
that's
sell
where
something.
that's where the head was though.
Yeah.
It was like it could. What if it's nothing? I feel like those words probably came out of my
Nobody.
knife. What if?
Yeah.
But what if it's nothing? But what if everybody is locked in their house and there's actually like restrictions on even leaving your house? Like
Yep.
all these businesses were shut down.
Mm-hmm.
We were considered an essential service because we have building materials. Pretty debatable whether deck is essential service.
we
or
kept
not,
that
but
pretty quiet. Yeah, we didn't.
So we weren't
not
ever
pounding on our
forced
chest
to
being like,
close.
we're essential.
Yeah.
You're not essential.
But it's also like nobody's expecting you to be open, and nobody's in the mood to go building decks right now. It's like it just wasn't the time nor the
Yeah.
place.
Mm-hmm.
So that all happened in spring. And then it was like, okay, you know what? This will be okay. The phone rang a couple of times. There was a few emails that came in. The odd person was looking at doing some stuff. Our contractors were still really quiet, and it was like, oh, this is not ideal, but we're so pot committed. We have to do this. So we just continued on, and we like kind of drummed up some energy. We're like, this is going to work. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I think that Friday was like, let's stop worrying about the worst case scenario and start thinking about like,
Medium case.
how can we make this work a little bit? Like,
Let's go to medium case.
what does this all mean? But there's so much uncertainty.
So it was like, okay, we're good. This is going to be great. And then winter wouldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.